o'clock on this Saturday morning, July 8th. Good morning, I'm Julie Watts. 3 people are hospitalized after a vegetation fire erupted and spread to 4 apartment buildings in Antioch. The fire started around 10 last night on Delta Fair Boulevard. Those taken to the hospital were suffering smoke inhalation. Now, firefighters are investigating whether this blaze was started by illegal fireworks. And we have exclusive surveillance video this morning of a possible arsonist just before a fire erupted at a construction project near Emeryville, near that Emeryville-Oakland border. Now, it happened back in May. First, he scopes out the building on San Pablo Avenue. Then he climbs the scaffolding and then out of view of our camera. Later, he's back on the street, this time on a bicycle. Then he puts on gloves and a mask. And then finally, he walks away from the construction site as it goes up in flames. The feds are offering a $50,000 reward for his capture. And there have been 5 fires at construction sites in Emeryville and Oakland. The most recent yesterday morning near Lake Merritt. The cause of that fire is under investigation, but according to police, they may be on the lookout for someone suspicious. Take a listen to this dispatch call.
If anybody gets eyes on like a light complexion, male black, like mid-20s, he's got a German Shepherd on a leash with him. He's saying, he's walking around saying he's off-duty OPD, off-duty U.S. Marshal. We need to talk to him, and OFD is asking to speak with him.
Now, that fire started early yesterday morning at the corner of 23rd and Valdez. No one was hurt, but as many as 900 people have been displaced in the neighborhood, and it could take weeks to get them back into their homes. KPIX 5's Andrea Borba has more.
Burning over 1,100 degrees, flames from the fire lapped at the air above a crane tasked with helping to construct the apartment building. The wooden structure of what would have been 193 apartments near Lake Merritt reduced to charred kindling, if it was still standing at all. And while no one was living in the building slated to open next March, people in the surrounding neighborhood found themselves evacuated.
Attorneys for the 2 men charged in last year's deadly Oakland warehouse fire have asked the judge for a delay. Prosecutors say Max Harris and Derek Almena turned the warehouse into a housing and party space without the proper permits or safety systems. The ghost ship went up in flames during a music event in December, killing 36 people. The defense says there's not enough evidence against their clients.
We are teams that evaluate the evidence, and at this juncture, we see, no evidence that they can ever show that our client committed any act with criminal negligence.
The next court date for both men is August 4th. The defense says the men will likely enter a not guilty plea and ask for bail to be reduced. This wildfire burning out of control in Butte County this morning. It expanded to 1,000 acres. 6 people were injured and at least 10 structures destroyed. Mandatory evacuations are in place for parts of the community of Bangor. The fire broke out yesterday off Chinese Wall Road. Right now, it's 0% contained. Meanwhile, firefighters are making progress on this fire burning in Yolo County. Evacuation orders near Winters have been lifted, but Highway 128 remains closed. Nearly 2,000 acres have burned. The fire is about 50% contained. Police in Richmond have given the all clear after a bomb threat. They evacuated their headquarters and communication center, easy for me to say, as well as nearby homes and businesses last night.
And now the regular dispatch procedures are back in place. The dispatchers are back in the comm center, and residents around the comm center are now okay to be back home.
Police say they got 2 threatening calls just before 7 last night. During the evacuation, the Contra Costa Sheriff's Office and BART Police handled most of those 911 calls. Police are investigating the threats. And a mail carrier remains in the hospital this morning after getting hit by a stray bullet in East Oakland. She was delivering mail on her route yesterday near Avenel and Bancroft Avenues, about a half mile from Mills College, when she was shot. The woman says she had just dropped off some letters and got back into her van when she was shot in the hip. Police do not think she was the intended target, but her van has multiple bullet holes. The feds are offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Commuters in the North Bay are getting more free SMART train rides. The original preview days were today and Sunday, but they've now added several more days next week. Space on the trains is available on a first-come, first-served basis. There are 10 round trips per day from the Sonoma County Airport and San Rafael Station.
Some parts of the state capitol are in such bad shape, one lawmaker says it's falling apart and needs to be fixed. So what's the plan? Well, it could be to cut it in half. The annex where the governor and most lawmakers work was added to the East End in 1952. 2 years ago, a pipe burst flooding the lieutenant governor's office, and now Assemblyman Kim Cooley is holding a series of hearings on the problem. He says the annex does not meet current safety standards, including no overhead sprinklers. It has a fire hose instead. Now, lawmakers are looking at two different options.
You're either knocking this down or finding a way to rehab the current building.
So how much could it cost? Currently, there is no estimate. The state hired consultants to put together a plan. They hope to have a recommendation soon.
The FBI is investigating an attack on a Delta flight attendant mid-air. Witnesses say a first-class passenger on the flight from Seattle to Beijing started acting agitated. The 23-year-old Florida man reportedly approached the exit door where a flight attendant tried to subdue him. Witnesses say that's when the man punched her and another passenger who was trying to help.
And they broke 2 bottles of wine on his head, and then scuffle broke out. We used the cart, pushed against him, and then we tackled him. We tried to choke him, and he just threw me off like a rag doll. And then we zip-tied him and flew back here.
Now, 2 people were taken to the hospital. The suspect was arrested and taken away in a wheelchair. Witnesses say he was focused on the emergency door, saying he needed to get air. Meanwhile, a camper crackdown in Palo Alto. Police are leaving messages for RV owners warning any motorhome parked longer than 72 hours could be towed. Officers issued flyers on RVs parked along El Camino Real yesterday to remind owners to move them every 3 days. The city says it's trying to strike a balance between sympathy and respect for the law.
They have been kind of lenient for a long time, and I think they're cracking down because there's more and more people out here.
Now, police are hoping this will prevent them from having to issue tow notice tickets.
More affordable housing could be arriving at a BART station near you. A bill to clear the way for more housing construction on BART-controlled land has passed through the state legislature. BART estimates it could result in up to 20,000 new units, including 7,000 designated as affordable. The bill now heads to the governor's desk.
Well, despite the wettest winter we've seen in years, one coastal town in Santa Cruz County is actually in danger of running out of water. The town of Davenport is the town, and the problem lies in its ties to the Cemex cement factory, which closed back in 2010. Now, city water runs through those plants' pipes. Last winter, storms damaged them, so the town switched to backup supply, which runs dry in the summer. Now, according to one county supervisor, Davenport has less than a month of water left, and he says the company is dragging its feet on repairs.
They always kept the water supply flowing to both their plant and this community. And now that they've left, they've decided to essentially abandon the community.
For its part, Cemex insists the damaged pipes are not on its property. The company blames the county. The county says that although Cemex no longer owns the property, it does own the pipes. Emergency plans are now being made to truck in water.